It's week 5 of the BCFL season with rosters now locked. We feature a doubleheader from Columbus. In the first game, the Columbus Gladiators are looking to become the first team in the BCFL to get the 5 wins, taking on the famed City Red Rhinos, looking to avoid an 0-5 start. And well, things went pretty much as expected. First play from scrimmage, Chanart drops back to pass. He is picked off, and the Gladiators take over at the Rhinos' 20-yard line. The Glads simply hand the ball off to Relnix twice. The second one results in this 7-yard touchdown for the early 8-0 lead. The Rhinos managed to make it to third down on the next possession before it is Calvin Tyler this time coming up with the interception. Nix gets stopped on first down, but on second down, Travis Birdsong has his pick of open receivers. He chooses Michael Haynes, and he's going to take it in for a 46-yard touchdown in a 16-0 lead. Some good news for the Rhinos, they do pick up a first down with this 17-yard run late in the first quarter, but famed City ends up punting, and on the first play of the second quarter, James Fields takes the handoff, bounces it outside, gets around the edge, nobody's there to stop him. He's going to go all the way for the 55-yard touchdown in a 24-0 lead. After another Rhinos punt, this time it's Nix who finds the hole through the left side, and he's going to take this one 65 yards for another touchdown. Another 2-point conversion is good, and the Gladiators lead is 32-0. The Red Rhinos do manage their best drive right before the half. Arndt picks up the snap, and he takes it himself. Does lose the ball at the end, but the Rhinos do fall out and recover and even get a first down out of the play. Later, this pass from Arndt gets the Rhinos in the Gladiators' territory for the first time in the game. Arndt takes the Rhinos even further into Gladiator territory with this run, but a sack on the final play of the half ends the Rhinos' drive. Nix opens up the second half for the Gladiators with yet another nice run, but penalties move the Gladiators back, and when they try to go deep, Keyshawn Watson is there to intercept it for the Rhinos. Famed City is unable to advance the ball, and then when they punt, James Fields fields it at the 35, and he's got a straight shot into the end zone for his second touchdown of the game. The Gladiators get one more long run by Nix here in the fourth quarter. He almost is able to stay in bounds for his third touchdown of the game. Instead, it's Birdsong finishing off the drive with this short touchdown pass. The 2-point conversion that followed made it 46-0. There's even rumors of another touchdown out there, but 46 points was more than enough for the Gladiators to get to 5-0. Nix carried 9 times for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. He averaged just under 17 yards per carry. Fields also had 2 touchdowns, the 55-yard run and the 35-yard punt return. In all, the Gladiators ran for 231 yards on 14 carries, an average of 16.5 yards per carry. For the Red Rhinos, Arndt completed 8 of 15 passes and also ran for 23 yards. And on defense, Jamie Barnes had 6 tackles, 2 of them for loss, 1 sack. In the second game, the 2-2 Tuscarawas County Warriors traveled to take on the 1-2 Columbus War Eagles. And early on, the War Eagles were flirting with disaster. Forced to punt on their opening drive, the snap got deflected, but Keith Wootens managed to recover it and even get off a pretty decent punt to midfield. On the War Eagles' next drive, Denzel Matlock managed to find the edge and pick up 12 yards on this carry. But when Mike Steele was fighting for some extra yards himself, the ball popped out. Nigel Fawcett fortunately was there to recover and even gain a first down for the War Eagles. Later, Connor McLeod's pass was deflected at the line by Noah Baker, but fell harmlessly among a group of Warrior defenders for an incomplete pass. That brought up 4th and 2, and Denzel Matlock had nowhere to go. Robin Dayton was there to pull him down for a big loss and give the Warriors the ball back. Disaster did strike for the Warriors on the next play, however. They were unable to connect on the handoff, and Stephon Bennett is there to recover for the War Eagles. The Warriors defense held, but when they were forced to punt, the snap was low, and Mike White was there to bring down the punter and give Columbus great field position. It looked like the Warriors defense might hold again, but on 3rd and 14, McLeod dropped back the pass, fired one deep into the end zone, and Nigel Foster to snatch it out of the air for the touchdown and give the War Eagles a 6-0 lead, which they held at halftime. In the third quarter, the Warriors finally got something going on the ground. This 5-yard run by Michael Levers proved to be their longest run of the game. That finally allowed quarterback Bailey Higginbottom to open things up. He goes deep, and leading receiver Devin Coletti is there to haul in a 32-yard pickup. 2 plays later, it's Higginbottom again going deep. This time Wyatt Garibrandt snatches that one out of the air. He's in for a touchdown. Levers bowls his way in for the 2-point conversion, and the Warriors move ahead 8-6. The Warriors' lead does not last long though. Derek Kane fields the kick at the 17. He makes one guy miss, another cuts back, and it's going to be a race to the end zone, and he is going to make it through the goal line for the touchdown. That's not a flag at the 30, that's the tee. The War Eagles are back on top, 14-8. The War Eagles got the ball back in great position to extend that lead, and Mike Steele moved them even closer with a 12-yard run. But penalties moved the War Eagles back to 2nd and 40. Steele picked up almost half of that with this run. Looked like it was supposed to be a pass, but he scrambled and bruises his way up to the 32 and lined up in the punt in the fourth quarter. Instead, it's Matlock who almost picks up the remaining yards, but he's out just short, and the Warriors take back over. The Warriors are unable to do anything on offense. When the War Eagles get the ball back, McLeod hits Kane for 15 yards over the middle. Then it's Steele running over the middle. He picks up 14 yards. And Antonio Tatum caps things off, takes this short pass from McLeod, makes one man miss, and he's in the end zone for the touchdown. The extra point makes it 21-6. The Warriors were unable to pick up another first down following their touchdown, so the War Eagles held on to win by that 21-8 score. Derek Kane not only had the 83-yard kick return touchdown, he had 2 punt returns for 37 yards and the 15-yard catch, totaling 135 yards in all. Mike Steele had 7 carries for 63 yards, a 9 yards per carry average. In all, the War Eagles ran for 122 yards, while the Warriors had minus 3 yards rushing in the game. Wyatt Garibrandt did catch 3 passes for 38 yards and his first touchdown of the season. In some bonus action, the closest game of the day featured the Cincinnati Dukes and the Cin-City Buccaneers in a rematch of their Week 1 encounter. As was the case in the first encounter, the Dukes jumped on top early, with Kamani Murray hitting Dante Jackson for this 43-yard touchdown and an early 6-0. Again, like the first meeting, the Buccaneers quickly answered. Antonio Davis hit Darion Brown for this 19-yard pass. And then it was Davis, 39 yards to Kirk Johnson for the touchdown, and the score was tied 6-6. The Bucs appeared poised to take a lead when Davis scrambled and then found Lamar Taborn for a 25-yard pickup, but on the fourth down, Davis was unable to connect, and the Dukes staved off the drive. The Dukes managed to work their way to the Buccaneers' 38-yard line, but late in the half, Daniel Ferguson picked off a pass over the middle, and the score remained tied at 6 going into halftime. In the third quarter, this 30-yard pass by Davis moved the Bucs deep into Dukes territory, but Ethan Mingus managed to pick off this pass in the end zone to maintain the tie. The Dukes again launched a long drive, starting when Kamani Murray hit Anthony Metcalf for 18 yards on the first play of the drive. Later, Murray connected with Aubrey Harris. He took the ball all the way down to the 1-yard line at the end of the third quarter. Brett Robinson plunged in from 1 yard out to start the fourth quarter, and the Dukes were ahead 12-6. The Bucs had a great chance to answer when Darion Brown fielded the kickoff that followed. He worked his way through the bunch of Dukes defenders and got all the way down inside the 20-yard line. That drive ended in another interception by the Dukes in the end zone. But when the Bucs got the ball back, they handed off to Zach Sparks, who worked his way outside, tiptoed along the sideline, stayed in bounds, and got in the end zone for the game-tying score. The Cin-City defense kept the momentum going, not only getting to Kamani Murray in the backfield, but knocking the ball loose and recovering for great field position. But for the third time in the game, the Dukes defense stepped up, intercepting a pass in the end zone to keep the score tied at 12. With time running down in the fourth quarter, George Wilson steps in front of a pass and has a pass, could possibly get there, but he is brought down short of the end zone. And a bad snap pretty much thwarts the Dukes' chance, sending us to overtime. The Dukes get the first possession of overtime and elect to go for it on 4th and 2, but on that play, Alvin Grace is swarmed by the Bucs defense and Cin-City takes over. The Dukes hold in a 32-yard field goal attempt is blocked, giving them another opportunity. The Dukes are unable to move the ball again, and this short punt gives the Buccaneers a golden opportunity to win the game in overtime. And on 4th down, that is just what they do. Davis lofts one up. Taborn snatches it in the end zone for the touchdown. Buccaneers win 18-12. For the second straight week, the BCFL sees an overtime game. Last week, it was the Spartans over the Huskies. This week, it's the Buccaneers over the Dukes. Antonio Davis completed 10 of 21 passes for 166 yards. Did have the 4 interceptions, but 2 touchdowns, including the game winner to Lamar Taborn. Zach Sparks carried 11 times for 79 yards and the other Buccaneers touchdown. Murray completed 16 of 31 passes for 186 yards and a touchdown for the Dukes. Dante Jackson had 6 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. The Buccaneers, after starting 0-3, are now 2-3. The Dukes started 3-0. They're now 3-2. In other games, the West Virginia Storm beat the Capital City Mustangs 30-0. The Southern Ohio Blaze beat the Ohio Rage 50-0. And nobody scored in the Spartans-Huskies rematch. That game was postponed. Taking a look at the standings, the Gladiators and Spartans are still undefeated in the Eastern Conference's Red Division, with the Huskies still looking for their first win in that division. Meanwhile, in the Blue Division, the Storm moved 2 games ahead of the Warriors, who are still ahead of the Mustangs and Rhinos. In the Western Conference, the Blaze have moved atop the Red Division at 3-1, a half game ahead of the 3-2 Dukes, while the Rage sit at 1-4. The Chargers remain atop the Blue Division at 4-0, but the War Eagles and Buccaneers take advantage thereby by picking up some ground. Both now have 2 wins. Taking a look at this weekend's schedule, the Storm travel to face the Spartans in a key game for the top of the Eastern Conference. Meanwhile, the Mustangs travel to the Rhinos in a key game at the bottom of the standings. The Mustangs picked up their 1 win against the Rhinos earlier. The Dukes look to get back on track facing a Rage team that they beat earlier. The Buccaneers, meanwhile, look to avenge another early season loss, this time hosting the Blaze. The Chargers look to match the Gladiators with 5 wins when they host the War Eagles. The Huskies will pick up a win by forfeit against the Tanks. The Gladiators and Warriors take this weekend off. And finally, taking a look at the owners' poll, there's only some small moves this week. The Chargers and Gladiators remain at 1 and 2. The Blaze slide ahead of the Dukes at 3 and even pick up a first place vote. The Spartans break this tie with the Storm and they now sit at 5, Storm at 6. The Buccaneers move into the top half at 7. The War Eagles and Warriors are tied at 8. Rage stay at 10. The Mustangs switch spots with the Huskies. The Mustangs are now 11 and the Huskies are 12. And the Red Rhinos and Tanks stay at 13 and 14.